Well, hello my loves and happy Sunday. Loved this project. It takes me back to some of my favorite ways to put a composition together and create abstractly, and great meaning, and we'll talk about that at the end of the video. So let's go over the supplies really quick before we dive in. So here's our fantastical beauty. Look at the grungy, yummy layers. This is a 12 by 16 birchwood panel, so it's bigger than my usual, not too much bigger. And then so I started this piece a little bit differently. I didn't start with paper, which is very strange for me, but I knew that I wanted on purpose to add some things purposefully so that they would peek through and show up. So I waited and just did a layer of gesso first. And my layer of gesso, you can see, and you'll see in the pictures, the brush strokes of my gesso. And I did that on purpose. I used my Utrecht gesso. It's a little bit thicker than, say, a Liquitex gesso. Either way, you get a good brush and just, put your brush strokes in and then let it dry. Those brush strokes continued to show up throughout and created some goodness. So started with my gesso and then laid down some color and then came back and added papers and stenciling to make sure that they were towards the top of all the layers so that they would show. Something fun that I did too was I scratched in. So my gesso was pretty thick onto my panel and I scratched in with a stylus. And so this white here is just like me scratching down to the raw wood. I love that. And I will be doing that again. So I used my stylus tool, wherever that is. It's in here. There it is. And the reason I like using the stylus tool is because it's got a rounded edge. This is made for like embossing, but it's got a rounded edge, so it doesn't like cut into the wood or your papers or different things like that. So it's very handy, but anything will do. And then just built up my layers and was very careful to keep the message of the piece shining through. Up here it says, "Write it on your heart." And down here it says that every day is the best day and tomorrow is a new day. Yes. And then otherwise everything is pretty straightforward. I did some scribbling and that kind of thing, and that I did with my fine line applicator. This is a mixture of acrylic paint, black acrylic paint, not my black gesso, but black acrylic paint. And I typically use a thinner paint and a mixture of airbrush medium. It's not a science. I do a little bit of paint. I do the same amount of airbrush medium. I shake it, mix it, and then try it. And then if it's too thick, I add more airbrush medium. If it's too thin, I add more paint. That's all there is to it. I've used this mixture. This mixture has been in here for 4 years. So that airbrush medium works, and I don't veer from this mixture because it's worked for 10 years for me. So, and this is an 18 gauge, and all of the supplies will be listed on the blog. The link to the blog is down below in the YouTube description box. A lot of times I get questions like, why don't you tell us a specific thing, or why don't you name certain things? Because a lot of times after I have created, I don't have all of that info as I'm filming. And I will go back through as I'm putting the blog post together and really get detailed about the products and find the links and all of the right things and the names of my stencils and all of that stuff. So it's all there, but you got to click the link down below in the YouTube description box. The supply links are not in the YouTube description box because otherwise I'd have to do this like 20 different places and it takes a long time. So fine line applicator for my scribbly things here. The other things that I used were for my background. After I did my gesso, I used some high flow. This is raw umber. This is carbon black. I use black gesso for my black. I use white gesso for my white. I put my papers down with fluid matte medium. I use a General's charcoal pencil and a black soft pastel. I used my brayer and my catalyst tool for this project. Just little bits, not a ton. And then my paints. I used Winsor & Newton's raw umber. This is Algerian Crimson Hue. This is a Studio 71. It's like a Hobby Lobby or Pat Catan's brand, so I don't know that it's available anymore. Turquoise, this is, did I say Algerian Crimson Hue? Turquoise, this is Soho Magenta. This is Liquitex Basics Magenta, not Magenta, Quin Magenta. And you'll see me pull out my golden Quin Magenta. Now, I will go to, a lot of times I will go to some of my less expensive paints, just because I create so often. But I know golden. There are products that you know, and this was not as vibrant and opaque as I wanted. It wasn't doing the job, so I went to my golden, and sure enough, the color was exactly that rich, deep color. It's a little bit different than this color. Not a ton, but I was looking for a specific, that deep, deep, rich color, and that's another reason why I went to Algerian Crimson Hue, because I wanted to be able to bring up the variation in this. So, yellow ochre, red ochre, green gold. I just did tiny touches of green gold, and I don't even think I did that on camera because it was kind of after the fact. I was like, oh, I need a little green in there, so I just dabbed my finger. I think I have covered everything. The stencils that I used are, this is Moroccan Tile 5. This is one of my favorites. And then we got new stencils in the shop, and this one I think will soon be my favorite. Wait till you see what we do with that. Coming in the next videos or previous somewhere before or after you see this video, there will be videos of stencils. Me kind of demoing the stencils. New ones anyway. Okay. I think that is it. Not a ton of supplies, not super complicated, just layers and layers of goodness. I think that is all the supplies. Again, all the supplies will be listed on the blog, and the link to the blog is down below the YouTube, in the YouTube description box. And they'll be on the blog. Everything will be listed out and links. All right, so I hope you enjoy the project, and let's get creating. right, lovies, that was fun. This is one of my favorite ways to create. It's very free, and I just get to play with paint and layer and layer and layer, and I love that. Combine that with, paper. It doesn't get any better. A couple of things real quick before we dive into the inspiration and meaning of this piece. By the time you see this, the membership doors will be open, Mixed Media Insider membership. We only open the doors 4 times a year. It just helps onboarding everybody and getting everybody into the membership and used to where everything's at. So the doors will be open for a week. And you can sign up. It's a monthly subscription. Every new workshop goes into the membership. And then all different, there's so much content in there. Beginner information, all of my mixed media kickstart information, how to color mix, and then we, more advanced information too, as well as creating, and just all kinds of stuff. And all the new workshops for the last few months, like 4 or 5 months, I believe, are now in the workshop, along with a few other. So there's just all kinds of goodness in the membership, and each month there's new content, whether it be a workshop or something else. And so I hope that you can check it out if you're so interested. And the doors will be open for a week, and then they will close and they will reopen in September. So 4 times a year we open the doors to the membership. So anyway, it has been a wonderful journey since we started this. We're almost coming up on a year now. And it has been a challenge and a journey, and awesome all at the same time, because I've really gotten to know several of the members and walk alongside them and see their excitement and all that kind of stuff. So what else? New stencils are in the shop. And I'm just trying to think. The one stencil that I did use today, the Moroccan tile, that'll be on sale. The new stencils aren't on sale. So, all right. I think that is it for right now. And then coming up, if you're not a member, my newest workshop will be released, and that is called Finding My Way. And so that will be happening too. If you're not a member, if you're a member, it is yours and available to you already. If you are not a member, then a new workshop will be coming to you. So, okay, that was a lot of stuff. So let's take a look at the project. Okay, so here she is, the beauty. Love, love, love the layers. I love the brush strokes, the texture, all of the yummy things that happened in here, including this little wonderful moment where I discovered something new. I was just going to use my stylus tool to kind of do my dividing line, and I scratched down into the wet paint, and the gesso wasn't completely dry, and it took me down to the raw wood. And I was like, oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And so I just scratched my heart out. I just went to town. And I can't wait to explore this technique a little bit more. But so it says, write it on your heart that every day or any day is the best day. Tomorrow is a new day. And so I had this really long quote. That's by Ralph Waldo Emerson. I had this really long quote that I was going to put on here, but as I progressed, it changes, and it shifts and changes as you create, and you're like, I don't think so, because I was really liking what was happening, and I didn't want to take that away, and so I chose just bits and pieces of the quote. But she's a beauty. So as I was going through my phone, cleaning out old photos or screenshots or, whatever. I came across a screenshot of a quote that I had captured by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And it's a long one, and I had actually printed out the whole thing to use, but I didn't. And I just chose the one parts that meant something to me that I could use and apply to my life and to myself. And maybe you will find some inspiration from that as well. But he said, write it on your heart that every day is the best day in the year. Every day is the best day in the year. I'm like, come on now. We know that's not true. He is rich who owns the day, and no one owns the day who allows it to be invaded with fret and anxiety. Now, I'm a realist, and I know that there's just no way that I will be free from fret and anxiety every single day. I know this to be true because I know me. But as I was reading through this, I thought, well, this is my goal, and this is something that I work towards. And so it started to take on a different meaning, because at first I was like, I don't think so. I don't think I can do this. But he goes on to say, okay, so no one owns the day who allows it to be invaded with fret and anxiety. Finish every day and be done with it. Love that. Because I will have fret and anxiety in a day, or I will say words that I shouldn't have said, or I will do things that I shouldn't have done, or my, especially for art, like finish that art and be done with it and just move on. Finish that day with your great creativity and be done with it. The next day is a new day, and we'll have fresh ideas, and we'll be rested, and things will come together better. So, of course, that quote is finish every day and be done with it. You have done what you could do. And really, I paused on that because I thought, if I say words that I shouldn't have said, or I've done things, or whatever the day held, have I really done the best that I could do? And I thought about that for a second, and I thought, I think so. I mean, there's always room for improvement, but some days are hurtful. Some days are hard. Some days are just life, and it's heavy. And some days we're just not at our best. I've done the best that I could today for what I was facing. Okay, I can accept that I did the best that I could today. There's room for improvement, but I did the best that I'm tired, I'm weary, I'm broken, I'm whatever it is that you might be feeling. I'm whatever. I feel uninspired. I don't feel like an artist. I don't, there's too many things to do on my list. We could go on. You've done what you could do today. I've done what I could do today. Some blunders and absurdities, no doubt. I love this. And I'm going to start using those words, blunders and absurdities, because it makes it sound so much. I just love it. It's a little playful. Some blunders and absurdities no doubt crept in. Oh, every single day. Every day. Forget them as soon as you can. Forget them. Okay, so here's the key takeaway in so much of this. For me, and maybe for you, I can go over in my head for days what I have done wrong, what I have said wrong, what I could have done better. I overanalyze it. And he says, Ralph Waldo Emerson says, forget them as soon as you can. Why? because tomorrow is a new day. That's the biggest writing on my piece. Tomorrow is a new day. Thank you. Thank you, Lord. Tomorrow is a new day. Because today didn't go so well, right? This new day is too dear with its hopes and its invitations to waste a moment on yesterday. Do you know how many days I have wasted on yesterday? How I have overthought and analyzed and beat myself up and gave myself guilt and shame and felt worthless over yesterdays. Countless of hours I've spent wasting my time on those things. So my goal, always, usually, now, at this age and stage, is to let the day go. It's not easy, though, because we're human. And I know for me, I want to do the best I can, and I want to love my people the best that I can, and I want to give to you the best that I can, and I want to do all of these things, but I am an imperfect person. And when I realize that, and when I quote that I'm doing the best that I can, there's a little bit of grace there. And grace is the key. Grace is the key for me, for you, for our relationships, for our art. Allowing some grace in there for blunders and absurdities. Absurdities. It feels like the last 2 years have been an absurdity. There's grace in there for blunders and absurdities. And I blunder every single day. But I'm doing the best I can with what I've got, where I am right now in this season. And I can bet that you are too. And finish this day. I'm working on finishing this day and being done with it. No more days of beating myself up for the things that didn't go right, or the art that didn't work, or the relationships that are hard. No more of that. Allow some grace. I'm not saying don't do the work. I'm not saying it's a free-for-all to say whatever you want. I'm not saying any of that, and I think you know that. I'm saying we're very hard on ourselves. At least I am. And I've heard from so many of you that you are too. Allow for some grace. Allow for the day to be done, and then move on, letting go of guilt and shame. Letting it go. So on my piece, at the very top, it says, write this on your heart. I want you to write this on your heart today, that you did the best that you could today. And that today is the best day because we're in it, we're living it, we're alive. And you did the best that you could today. And then the biggest part of the words on my piece is that tomorrow is a new day. Tomorrow is a new day. And that's all we can do. That's it. So let go of the things. Let it go. I could read this over and over and over. Let go of the blunders and absurdities and finish this day. Tomorrow is a new day. And there's an old song that says joy comes in the morning because it's a new day. All right, my loves. I hope your Sunday is restful and peaceful. I hope this Sunday is a new day for you. That you can lay all the things down that you can let go of your guilt, your shame, your imperfections. You're perfectly imperfect. And that you can wake up for this day and do the best that you can today with what you have and with where you are in the season that you're in. I hope that for you today. Let it all go. Today is a new day. And I hope that you always, always know that you are loved.